Hello and a very warm welcome back to the garden. Now this is a fun video. I'm showing you 15 tips plus 3 bonus ones on how to get started. So if you're just starting your food growing journey, which is super exciting, the tips that I'm going to give you are designed to make sure that you can get started on the right foot. So let's go. The first thing that you should do before you do anything else is to start making your own compost. Compost is the gold of the garden. It's so important. So invest or build a compost bin such as this nice Hive compost bin, and before you do any planting, start filling it up. And there's a video here that you might want to check out to find out more about composting. Once you've created the compost bin, the next thing you want to focus on is getting that first harvest, because tasting something that you've grown yourself is going to get you hooked, but you want to reach that as soon as possible. So I always recommend to start with pea shoots, because you can do this any time of year on your windowsill and they taste delicious. So check out this video on how to grow pea shoots, super easy. So you've got compost and also your first harvest on the way. The next thing you need to think about is water, which is going to be vital for when you want to start expanding your growing area. So I'm storing water in an old IBC tank, but you can even use things like cartons. Now a quick tip is, if your garden is on a slight slope, try and store water at the top of the slope, because it means that gravity will help you carry it down, or if you have a hose, then you can use it a lot easier. Sometimes one of the hardest things if you're just starting out is knowing when to water your plants. So I use 2 very quick things. The first one is, if I have seedlings in pots or containers like this, if the first 1 centimetre or half an inch is dry, it's a cue for me to water them. When it comes to things planted out in raised beds like this Swiss chard, if the top 2 to 3 centimetres is dry, I'm then going to water them. So 1 centimetre for things that are growing in pots and modules, and 2 to 3 centimetres or an inch for things that are directly in the raised bed. One of the hardest things if you're just starting out growing food is knowing where to invest and also what to buy, because you become bombarded with all sorts of things. So the biggest tip is to invest in quality, because a long-term investment on something good like this seed tray container from ContainerWise is going to last 15 years rather than a cheap container. And if you're not happy to invest in quality, try and look for things that are free to make, or at least really cheap, that are also environmentally friendly. For example, this seed tray or crate was free to make out of a pallet, and I can also use these cardboard loo rolls as pots for my beans. So invest in quality, if not, make it. Something you've got to bear in mind is that if you want to grow perennial plants, for example asparagus, they take some time to develop. So I'm not going to harvest this asparagus, which I've just planted this year, until about 3 years time. So get your perennial plants in as soon as possible, so then you can enjoy relishing their harvest as soon as possible. Remember, the best time to plant an apple tree was 7 years ago. The second best time is now. If there's one thing that I want you to take from this video, is to know that having a healthy soil is the key to having healthy plants. And a healthy soil is simply made by minimal soil disturbance. This is where you just put a layer of compost on top of the soil every single year, and you don't need to dig it in. And if you want to find out a bit more, then the best person to check out is Charles Dowding. A habit that you've got to develop early on is, if you see a weed, pull it out there and then. Don't let it grow, try and get the roots as well. And the reason why is because weeds can quickly take over. So I'll be doing a video very soon actually about more details on weeding, so check it out. But just for the time being, if you see any weed, pull it out. You're going to thank yourself later on. One of the best things about growing your own food is having the freedom and choice to choose what you want to grow. And I highly recommend that you dedicate a little bit of time growing things that you aren't really likely to find in shops. For example, mixed beetroot. It's just so much fun to try out new things that you wouldn't otherwise get. When it comes to sowing and transplanting and also mulching beds, compost, as I mentioned before, is a really important thing. And if you need to buy compost, there's only one type you should buy, and this is multi-purpose peat-free compost. I feel that seed compost is a bit of a scam. It's a waste of money. You don't really need it, and you can do all of the things from mulching to seed sowing, as simple as that. This tip should apply not just for the start of your growing journey, but for years to come. And that is to just keep to-do lists. These are so important because, especially if you're just starting off and you've got all sorts of things going on, it's easy to forget about things. So keeping a weekly to-do list to give you the reminders so you don't forget anything will really help reduce the amount of challenges or disasters that may happen. A challenge that comes with starting to grow your own food is a whole learning process that comes from it. And there might be things that you read or watch that you don't quite understand. And don't worry about this. Instead, use a method called the Justintime method. So this is where you learn what you need when you need it. And then over time, you will progress. Being a vegetable gardener, you're going to end up buying a lot of seed packets. And something I want you to know is that even though they have best before or sow by dates, they're still going to last longer than that. For example, these butternut squash, the best before was 2017. We planted 6 seeds in 2020 and all 6 came up. So don't throw away those old seed packets. Yes, the germination rates might reduce, but you can still get some great crops. I understand that the start of your food growing journey is hugely exciting, but there's one thing that I want you to know, and that's not to bite off more than you can chew. You don't want to end up growing loads of things only to feel overwhelmed and not know how to cope with it all. So the best way to reduce the likelihood of this happening is by starting small and then growing slowly over the years. Start expanding your setup. If you ever feel like you're a bit too overwhelmed, then just put something like landscape fabric or cardboard over the top of your growing space. Maybe it's half of it, even just a quarter, to free you up. And then when you feel that you can have time to dedicate to it and you're in control, remove the landscape fabric or the cardboard and it will be ready for you to grow in straight away. Before we go into the 3 bonus tips, I want to focus on one thing that is absolutely critical. And this is to expect failures. Failures do happen and they will happen, and it's just part of gardening. Not everything's going to go to plan. So firstly, try and grow a load of different things, so if something fails, then you do have other things to enjoy. And for example, I thought that these radishes might have failed as they got really badly affected by flea beetle because of an unusually warm, dry spring. But I let them grow, and I've got radish now that are developing and that I can eat. So I've learnt from previous years, even if I have flea beetle and I think it's a failure, let it grow, see what happens. And that's a beautiful thing about growing food. Something that might happen, and this can also be related to gardening failures, is things occurring without you knowing why. And the great thing about gardening is that it's a very positive community, and there are loads of Facebook groups out there dedicated to gardening. So I'd recommend you join them, and if you see something that you're not quite sure what's going on, for example, seeing lots of holes in, say, your radish, just go with your phone, take a photo, and then post it on a Facebook group. And I'm sure that there's going to be someone on there who'll be able to help you out and give you some free advice. One of the earliest skills which you should try and learn early on is to get into the habit of being able to thin seedlings, because there will come a time and a place, and I know you don't want to thin them, but you've got to be bold and go for it. The reason why is because thinning is ultimately going to give you better harvests and bigger yields. For example, your carrots or your beetroot, and here I've got perpetual spinach. So just get into the habit of being able to sacrifice. It's okay, it may feel kind of scary, but just go for it. And the final tip, if you're not already doing it, is to really make the most of YouTube, to watch things and see what other gardeners are doing, so you can compare different techniques, and perhaps one technique might not have worked. You can then see what a different gardener is doing to try it out. And I find that YouTube is a great place to also get inspiration for new things to try. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you found this video useful, and if you want to see a video which goes into a bit more detail about that first crop that I mentioned, getting that first harvest, then click here.